Okay. Hello. We are completing today your pre-algebra review. So I'm going to go over the answers and how to do most of them. So on the top page, we have ordering numbers. And it's hard to order numbers when they're not all in the same type of number. Some are fractions and some are decimals. So we're going to start with putting all the numbers into decimal form. Okay, the first one, we have to take 6 divided by 7 in your calculator, and you're going to get negative 0.857, which is actually less than 0.62 because it's further away from 0. So you put the greater than symbol. For number 2, 12 divided by 44 is 0.272, and 8 divided by 11 is 0.72, which is actually greater. So 12 44ths is less than 8 11ths. In the calculator here, 4 divided by 5 is 0.8. So 4 divided by here, 4 divided by 5 is 0.8. And I want to put all these into decimal form. 5 divided by 8 is 0.625. So if we're going from least to greatest, you'd have the least, which is 2.6. Then you would go with the 2.625, but it's originally written as 2 5/8. Then next would be 4.8, which is 4 4/5. And lastly, 4.85. So that's your order, at least to greatest. Square root of 49 is negative, or it's 7, but it's negative, so negative 7. It is an integer, but it's also rational. So you have to classify it as everything. This can be written as a fraction, so it's either rational or irrational, so it's rational because it can be written as a fraction. It's not an integer, it's not a whole number, and it's not natural, so it's just a rational number. Here, the square root of 51 it goes on forever and it's not repeating. So it's an irrational number. And the square root of 121 is 11. So not only is it rational, it's a natural, whole, and an integer. Here we have negative 31 and negative 4. We add them together, that's negative 35. Here, all of these should be easy to use in your calculator. The only questions I had with some of these were, how do we complete fractions in the graphing calculator? So here we have 1/7 plus 5/7. So what you do here is 1 divided by 7 plus 5 divided by 7. Enter. I don't like the decimal, so I hit the math button. Fractions already highlighted. Enter. 6/7. And that's what you can do for all of these. So here's your answers. You can take a minute, pause, and check your answers. For 16 through 23, you're going to do the same thing. You can just use your calculator. Be careful. If I have a negative 21, I don't want to press minus. I actually want to use the negative button. So negative 21, parentheses, times negative, not minus 5. It's going to be 105. And same thing down here. 2 1/4, I can't use mixed numbers in the calculator, so I'm going to make it 2 times 4, which is 8. And then there's this 1, so it's 1/3 divided by 9/4. Okay, so you have to make it an improper fraction before you put it in the calculator. So it's going to be 1/3 divided by 9/4. I don't like that, so I'm going to hit the math button. I'm going to go to fraction, enter, enter. 4/27. Okay. We may or may not have talked about some of these in class. So Joseph is mixing 5.5 gallons of orange drink for his class picnic. Every half gallon requires 1 packet. So how many 1/2 packets goes into 5.5? So we're not going to do it this way. We're going to divide by 1/2. So how many 1/2s are in 5.5? Well, I know that this is 10, 11 halves. So I'm going to type 11 halves divided by 1/2. That's going to be 11 packets. If you were desperate, you could just write them out in half packets. You'd write, that makes 1, that makes 2, that makes 3, that makes 4, that makes 5.5 packets, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 packets you would need. On the back, we want you to find perimeter of both and area of both. Well, perimeter is just adding up the sides. So if it's 4 here, it's 4 here, and if it's 7.5 here, it's 7.5 here. So what I'm going to do is there's 2 sides of 7.5 plus 2 sides of 4. We're going to get 23. Meters. And then over here, it's 6 plus 4.5 plus 7.5. So the perimeter is 18 inches. So we found our perimeters. Area is just length times width. So the area is 7.5 times 4. Well, 7.5 times 4 is 30. So the area here is 30 meters squared. Over here, to find the area of a triangle, it's 1/2 base times height, because it's half of a triangle, or I'm sorry, half of a rectangle. The base is 4.5. The height is 6 inches. The height is always the altitude. It makes a right angle. So 6 times 4.5 times 0.5, put in the calculator, it's going to be 13.5 inches squared. Okay. You can always pause the video, rewind it. The goal is to actually do this and then check it, okay? A parallelogram has a base and a height. The base is 20, the height is 6, find the area. Well, we see in our notes, we are using our notes, that it's A equals B times H. The base is 20, the height is 6, 120 millimeters squared. Okay. Next, find circumference and area of each circle. Well, we know circumference is 2 pi r. Circumference equals 2 pi r. I know the radius here is 3.5. The radius here is half of 25. Well, half of 24 is 12, so it's 12.5. So if I put this in the calculator, I could use pi and I can use 3.14. The answers will be a little bit different, but you won't get it incorrect. 2 times second, pi is right here, and then 12.5. If you use pi, it'll be 78. It says round to the nearest tenth. It's about, approximation, 78.5 inches squared. Okay, here I'm going to use 3.14. 2 times 3.14 times 3.5. And you're going to get, it's about 21.98. Oh, but they want the nearest tenth, so I'll actually round it to 22. Because the tenth is the 9, it would go up. It wouldn't be squared, sorry, because it's just circumference. But if we found area, which is pi r squared, it would be pi 12.5 squared. And here it would be pi 3.5 squared. So the area here is 12.5 times 12.5 times 3.14, which is about 490.6 inches squared. Here, 3.5 times 3.5 times 3.14, that's 38.5 inches squared. It says a park has a circular area for a fountain that has a circumference of about 16 feet. What is the radius? So they give you circumference, so I know I'm going to use the formula for circumference. I'm going to substitute what I know in. I know that the circumference is 16 feet. I want to know the radius. So if I divide everything by 2, 8 equals pi r. It's hard because pi isn't look like a number, but it is. So now let's divide by 3.14 on both sides. Radius equals 2.5, because this says nearest tenth feet. Okay, here, let's find the volume of each figure. Well, here volume is length times width times height. Volume is the length is 12, the width is 6, and the height is 2. Even if you messed up the order, it wouldn't matter. You'd still get the same answer of 144 inches cubed. Over here, you find the area of the circle and multiply it by its height to find the volume. So the area is pi r squared, and then the height is h. So the radius is 4.5 squared. The height is 12.5. Put it in the calculator just like that, or you could do 3.14. Either way, your answers just might be a little bit different. And you should get 794.8 inches cubed. Okay, I really shouldn't use equals. I should use an approximation because it's not exact. Those are your answers. Most of it was done in class. I want you to hand it in or not. When you hand it in, then you're going to start your quiz. Okay? You should also hand in your homework as well.